What up? It's your boy, the Incredible Man, and yes, I'm back at it again. And you guys know when I talk about Vinland Saga, I jump on camera and I am grinning from ear to ear. I'm super ecstatic and I'm overjoyed, and I feel like everything that's coursing through me is just ramped up to 10 because I'm talking about something that happened and it was just super amazing, and I just have to move to express myself to get it out. And this episode didn't make me feel like that. But you guys know I called episode 19 perfection because it was. But then we get this episode, and this was better than episode 19 to me. And the funny thing is because it's not that type of series, but at the same time, when we have those action sequences, it's like, oh wow, this is fantastic. But then we get thrown into an episode like this episode, which was pure emotion, adrenaline, and every kind of other feeling you could ever just have. And that's what this episode was. And that's what I felt the entire episode. And this is Vinland Saga episode 21 discussion / review, man. Boy, if I don't go ahead and dive into it, I'm gonna be here all day. This episode was heavy for me, man, because of everything that happened. We jump and start this episode, and we see Leif on the docks, just having a nice conversation with one of his crewmen, thinking about Thorfinn and the day that Thor's died, and that if it would have been for Thor's, they would have never escaped or lived. Then we come and we have this one guy, this one character coming in and was like, well, move your crappy boat because we have royalty coming through. And we have Prince Canute coming in, and we see him talking to Askeladd, but that was only perception, because later that we find out that Askeladd he took a slave and had that slave portray Prince Canute. My hair is messed up right there. Had that slave portray as Prince Canute, and he hired an assassin to kill Canute, which aka at that moment was the slave. And they killed the slave, and it turned out to be a woman. And when they cut him open to try to help the prince, all of these people were like, I knew it, the prince is a woman, I called it from the beginning. But that wasn't the case. It was not a doppelganger, but just a double that Askeladd had bought and made portray as Prince Canute. That's when this whole story shifted. So the double was hurt. Then everybody was shocked and was like, "Oh my gosh, Prince Canute is dead!" No, and then we come out and we see Prince Canute telling all these other people like, "Hey, I knew he was a woman." No, fools, I'm here. So we have Prince Canute saying and concerned about the slave as well, and was like, "Get her every treatment that you can, and can you save her?" And then we jump and we see Thorfinn chasing the assassin, and what's messed up is because Askeladd hired the assassin. And he killed the assassin. It's so messed up. But this whole beginning of the whole episode was it was a little dark, but it was a light at the same time. If you get what I'm saying, it kept it really light, and then later on it shifted completely. So then we have Thorfinn killing the assassin. Let's be 100%. One of the best parts about this episode was having Thorfinn slap the mess out of dude, man. Like when he slapped the dude that was like apprehending him after he was involved with the assassin. Dude, whole face just like vibrated and shook and threw dude up there. So that was one of the most funniest parts of this episode. This whole time with Leif, when Leif had the look on his face when he saw Askeladd, I had that same look watching Leif see Askeladd. I was like, oh, he's going to find him. And I thought he was going to see Thorfinn, but at that moment he saw Askeladd. So then we have, I thought he was going to see Thorfinn, but he didn't. At that moment he saw Askeladd. And then we see Thorfinn killing the assassin, and that's when he bumps into Leif, and the look on Leif's face just made me feel all warm and excited inside. Now, I knew that Thorfinn wasn't going with Leif at all. I knew it, but for them to sit down and have a nice conversation and talk, and Leif hug Thorfinn and share how he felt about everything was so very nice, and that was such a wonderful moment. And I love the fact that Thorfinn didn't ask about his mom or his sister. Leif mentioned it and brought it up, but I like the way that Thorfinn didn't talk about it because that's not what his focus is on. His focus is killing Askeladd and going through everything that he's going through right now. Because if he took his mind off of that and he decided to go home and check on his mother and his sister, he would be maybe probably content with letting Askeladd live, and that's not what he wants. He wants Askeladd dead. And every episode I find myself being so engulfed in everything, and this is just such a wonderful series because, like, I want to give a huge shout out to someone that I follow on YouTube and I'm subscribed to as well, and I love their reviews of this particular anime and pretty much every other anime that they review, and that is Brandon Anime Reviews. Huge shout out to him, man, because something he said in one of his previous reviews is that there's no good guys and there's no bad guys in this anime. Excuse me, in this anime, and that's holding so very true, man, because even on times when you're rooting for Askeladd and then you kind of aren't rooting for Askeladd, you still find yourself rooting for Askeladd, and even in these situations where they're killing people, you're still rooting for them, and it's so much going on, but there's no such thing as good guys or bad guys in this series. There's not. I mean, you got your one good guy, who would probably be somebody like Leif, but, I mean, there's no telling what he done in the past either. So there's no good guys. So then we have Thorfinn telling Leif to leave him alone. He's not studying. He's walking away. Then Leif was like, well, I'm going to stay in this village till you change your mind. So then we jump into something completely different, and we start to see Askeladd talking to Canute with Thorkel and Thorkel's assistant and Gunnar in there as well. With them having their conversation and talking, we also find out that now Askeladd has this elaborate plan to set off from jump. And that's where we find out that he'd hired the assassin, and he also set up with the double for Canute and everything. So, now that was very, very nice, and I love the little visual as well. We see Askeladd sitting there, leaning up against the wall, talking and telling everything, and then we see the spider web. So, like, he's laid out this intricate plan, and he set traps, so the spider web was a nice visual aspect to throw in as well. So then he goes into his full plan, and he says that we set all this in motion to let the king know, to kind of set the king up, because we know that the king wants to kill you, and he can't right now, but he wants to. And we set all of this in motion to set rumors against the king to say that he's the one that tried to assassinate you. And then they started spreading these rumors all over town. And also at this time, we see the king talking to Floki and asking him how's everything going and how's Askeladd and everything. So he knows that Askeladd is the genius. And that's what I want to touch on too as well. Askeladd is a genius. This man has genius level intellect. This man is boss status. And that's what I'm saying. Like, this anime and this manga is written so well that you have no choice but to like Askeladd. Even if Askeladd isn't your favorite character, you have no choice but to like him as a character as a whole. Then we also have Canute telling Askeladd to never use another double as him again, so that they can't be hurt or go through that kind of pain or something like that again. And that was nice on Canute as well, but a little foolhardy. I understand it because we got this new Canute, and I love this new Canute, and I love everything that he's about, but I understand where he's coming from, but I kind of also understand where Askeladd is coming from too. He can't just not save you or keep you safe. You know what I'm saying? But we also know that Askeladd has a whole bunch of plans. But also Askeladd comes and tells Canute that you can't trust Gunnar. And he was like, well, do you have any proof why I can't trust him? He was like, no, not yet, but it's in my gut. But I have Thorfinn following him, and Thorfinn followed him, and it panned out. He was telling King Sven everything. He was telling him everything, but it's nice because the way that Askeladd set it up, well, he could tell him all this stuff. This is stuff we won't know because we have all these rumors spreading around town. But all of the other stuff we're going to keep inside. We're not going to tell him. But also at this time, this is where it kind of shifted for me as well. We see Askeladd talking to Bjorn. And from last week's episode, I didn't want to mention it in the review, but Bjorn's not going to make it. And I didn't want to bring it up because I felt like maybe they may do something to kind of find some way to heal him. But he's not going to make it. You can tell he's looking very, very bad. And him and Askeladd are holding on to a nice conversation. And he tells him that the other guy that left with his brother, he felt sorry for stabbing Bjorn. And Bjorn was like, well, I have no grudge against someone that wounded me on the battlefield. And in that moment when they were holding the whole conversation, I knew that he was sick and he wasn't going to make it. And then I felt like they were going to have a duel. The way he was talking to Askeladd, when he was like, tomorrow, I knew they were going to have a duel. So we jumped to tomorrow. and they start their duel. Well, before that, Thorfinn starts to talk to Askeladd about his duel, and I love that because we haven't had a Thorfinn and Askeladd duel in a minute, so we're finally getting another duel with them, and to see that happen, like I said, it was all nice until that moment when the duel started to take place, because then we have Bjorn pop up, and Bjorn's pretty much spilling his heart to Askeladd and telling him everything, how he felt, and how he understands how Askeladd feels, and he just wanted to be friends with Askeladd, and he realized that Askeladd hated him and everyone else in their crew. He just hated them, and he hated himself, but he just wanted to be his friend. So then they start their duel, and he tells Thorfinn, "You're gonna have to wait. I got a prior engagement." And the most wonderful thing happened in their duel, man. They took their stances, and they launched and attacked at each other, and the production cut out all the sound for that scene until they clashed swords, and you heard the sound of the swords clashing, and then boom, you see the sparks and everything, and then you see Askeladd stab Bjorn, but it wasn't a fatal wound. And in that moment, Askeladd was like, "No, oh no, I'm sorry, I missed your vitals. Let me make it right." And Bjorn starts to go into this thing where, "I just wanted to be your friend." And then they pan out, and they just show a tree and some snow and the sunlight and everything, and you hear this, and he stabs Bjorn. And then you can tell now Askeladd is hurt, and he's upset, and he's angry, and then he tells Thorfinn, "Well, come, Thorfinn, I'll play with you." This whole episode, man, like I'm saying, man, this anime is too perfect. And then we have Askeladd that he hated himself, he hated everyone else, but Bjorn just wanted to be his friend, and this whole elaborate plan that he set up. Askeladd is a genius, and you hate him, you love him, but you love him more than you hate him, because, I mean, you can't hate Askeladd. That's just one of those things. He's a character you cannot hate, and Askeladd may be the perfect character ever created, in my opinion. This is your boy, Nick Incredible, man. Don't forget to smash that like button until you can't smash it anymore. Comment down below, and I'll be sure to respond to each and every one of them, and subscribe, but only if you really want to, man. And remember that anime matters, anime is greatness, and anime is life, man. Peace out.
Are we gonna play now? Ready for the show? I'm about to take down, you already know. Get the fuck out of my face now, yeah, you gotta